Dear viewers, welcome to a new episode of your show, Without Introductions. And you will surely find the most hostile to those who believe. The Jews and those who associate others with God. First of all, the Jews and those who associate others with God. By the way, this episode isn't a criticism of Islam. Okay, because those who say that, or those who have the same mindset, Christians as well. In fact, most Arabs consider the Jews to be the most hostile. And when they want to insult someone, they call him a Jew, meaning someone who is unjust and vengeful towards Arabs, whether Christian or Muslim. An unjust person among Arabs. They say to him, "Man, are you a Jew or what? The injustice you have, it's like you have no heart. You're a Jew," meaning a very stingy person among Arabs, whether Christian or Muslim. They say, "What's with all this stinginess? You must be a Jew." So from a young age, we were taught that any bad trait means someone is a Jew. And when we were in elementary school, whenever we wrote an essay, if Israel or Jews were mentioned, we always had to add the word enemy or occupation next to it. So they made us hate them. We grew up from a young age hating anything called Israel or Jew. It's just something inside us, and we were taught that they are the most hostile to the believers. The Jews, that's it. And again, I'm not saying this is just Islamic thinking. This is both Islamic and Christian thinking. Not all Christians, but most Christians. But definitely all Muslims. Okay. And based on that, a lot of other political things happened, which we'll talk about later. But today, I'm here in this episode to change your ideas. To tell you who the Jews really are, and what is the benefit of the Jews. And if you know what the Jews have done, your way of thinking will completely change, and your idea about the Jews will be totally different. When someone comes to make a show like I do, the first accusation he gets from Arabs is that he's funded by the Jews. Israel is paying for him, the Jews are funding him, and the Jews are supporting him. It's all just accusations. The word of Jew, the word of Israeli, they are both accusations. They say, the Jews are paying you, the Jews are doing things for you. I forgot to tell you that when someone is accused of treason, they call him a Jew, a Zionist Jew, even though they don't understand the difference between Zionism, Judaism, or Semitism, or anything like that. Israelis themselves don't know the difference between these terms, but for them, it's all just the word a Jew. To them, all these words are off-putting. They're all negative words. So the words a Jew, Zionist, or Israeli are all very bad words among Arabs. Okay, by the way, I mean, from either of the two religions. Meaning Christianity and Islam. But I'm saying, for example, that 99% of Muslims and about 70 or 60% of Christians have the same mindset. Okay, so let's talk, who are the Jews, and what did they do? Before I tell you what they did, I want to say that if it weren't for the people I'm about to talk about, these Jewish figures, if it weren't for these Jewish examples, the world would have been incredibly backward. If it weren't for the Jews, the world would have been incredibly backward. Underline this, if it weren't for the Jews, the very people you call enemies, the world would have been incredibly backward. Come on, I've written about a few of them for you. Let's take a look. The first Jew who changed the entire world, whose work became the foundation for research, innovations, industries, and so many developments around the globe. That was Albert Einstein. Just so you know, Arab viewer, Albert Einstein was Jewish. Okay. and you will surely find them the most hostile to those who believe. The Jews, including Albert Einstein, is so. Is Albert Einstein the most hostile? What did Albert Einstein do? He discovered the theory of relativity. Of course, relativity doesn't mean percentage, by the way. I don't want to get your head tangled up with special relativity, general relativity, speed, the speed of light, how many thousands of kilometers and all that stuff. And the speed is constant and all these things, these are things that, honestly, just researching them gave me a headache. I mean, it's not an easy or simple topic, and the research complexities have been around for many years. So, Einstein discovered the theory of relativity. But apart from that, what did the theory of relativity actually do for us? I mean, someone might ask me, so, how did he advance the world? What did Albert Einstein's theory actually do for us? In short, this theory basically says that the faster you go, approaching the speed of light, the more time slows down. The faster you go, the slower time gets. And it led to a lot of similarities, you know. Like the example of the twins. If you have two twins who are both 25 years old, and one stays on Earth while the other goes to space, say to the moon or something like that. After 5 years, the one who went to space comes back at age 30 and finds his twin is now 60. What happened? It's because the Earth's rotation is fast the farther you get from the speed of light. At that speed, time slows down. So for the guy who went to space, time was moving slowly for him. For the other one, time was moving quickly, so the other became 60 years old while this one is still 30. How did that benefit us? It benefited us in making satellites, which enabled means of communication, so you could be in America and call someone in an Arab country, say hello, and they answer you at the same moment, even though you're in one time zone and they are in another. In Australia, for example, it could be night for us and day for them, and we say hello. And they answer us instantly. All of this was made possible because of, or due to, the discovery by Albert Einstein, the Jewish scientist, of the theory of relativity. Based on that, the GPS was created, the one you put in your car to get to a specific place in a certain amount of time. It tells you the estimated time, like you'll arrive in half an hour, and as you keep driving, it updates you, now it's 15 minutes, now it's 10 minutes. She told me 5 minutes. Okay, you're close, and I've drawn the road, the map, and all that stuff. Satellites, GPS, the internet that you use to insult the Jews who made a Jew or the reason for making a Jew. Albert Einstein. We enter into another one called Marie Curie, who is Jewish. Marie Curie. Marie Curie, a Jewish woman, is the one who discovered radioactive elements like radio. Tell us what radioactive elements are not discovered. This Jewish woman finds out what she wants. What did we gain from what she discovered? Yes, through the radioactive elements, we were able to create a device that enables early detection of cancerous tumors in the body so they can be treated using the radiation and radioactive elements that Marie Curie invented. Now we have nuclear radiation, which passes through a person and either treats or destroys the cancerous cells in their body. Some people are treated with chemotherapy, and others are treated with radiation. The radiation treatment was discovered by Marie Curie, who was Jewish. So you'll find that the Jews are the reason for the world's progress. Albert Einstein's theory of relativity led to the creation of satellites, the internet, and the communication tools that people use to insult the Jews. And Marie Curie is the one who made it possible for you to recover from cancer, just so you can insult the Jews too, so you can say they are the most hostile. Whether your religion is Muslim or Christian, why do you hate the Jews? Why do you hate them? And then you get a singer who doesn't want to mention these things because they are disgusting. Okay. Yeah. The one who hates Jews, hates Israel, and hates whatever else. You hate because you're ignorant. You don't know. That's what they taught you. I'm not blaming you. I was ignorant just like you. They taught us the same things. We inherited the same stupid idea that we should hate Jews. They're advancing and moving up, while we're dragging them down. We use the things they invent just to insult them. They invented the internet, and we use it to insult them. They made communication tools, and we use them to insult them. They invented radiation therapy to cure us from cancer, so we could get out of our beds after we were dying. And we still insult them. Okay, that's the Jews for you. What did Rosalind Franklin do? First, before we say what she did, she was also among the most devoutly Jewish. Okay, have you ever heard of something called nucleic acid or DNA? Through it, we discovered genetics and hereditary sciences, and because of it, they can now treat a fetus in its mother's womb if there's a certain disease, or detect it with ultrasound if there's a specific illness. Ultrasound, too, which was invented by Marie Curie, who was Jewish. You'll find that everything invented was made by Jews, those who are supposedly the most hostile. Okay, the ones we are supposed to hate, oppose, and curse day and night. Because of what Rosalind Franklin did, she discovered the polio vaccine through DNA. When she studied DNA and photographed it as a helix and all that. Through that, she discovered a treatment for polio, Jews, supposedly the most hostile. Alright, that's 3. Let's look at the other 3. One of them, we all know him, all Arabs talk about him, they study him in schools, and they don't know he's Jewish, supposedly among the most hostile. Sigmund Freud is Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis. Sigmund Freud, the one who interpreted dreams. If it weren't for him, we would still be saying that if you see a girl in your dream, it means good fortune, and if you see gold, it means misery. And a dream with blood means corruption, and so on. All those backward ideas. But Sigmund Freud taught us how to interpret dreams. And that dream interpretation is actually about things stored in the subconscious mind. He said that these stored things come out in dreams, slips of the tongue, or slips of the pen. And Sigmund Freud started talking about psychoanalysis, through which we analyze other people's personalities and behaviors. Which is what Arabs use to analyze the personalities of Jews so they can figure out how to fight them, to see where their weak spot is. So Sigmund Freud, the pioneer of psychoanalysis, is a Jew and one of their fiercest enemies. Sergei as well. And as we go further down the list of names and move forward in time, we find incredible inventions from those considered among their fiercest enemies. This person, Sergey Brin, is the one who invented Google. Google, the very thing you use to search for ways to attack the Jews. Google, the platform you use to look up things against the Jews. Google, the one you use to promote and advertise your anti-Jewish content. The person who invented Google is Jewish. He created it so you could insult him through it. They made it so you could spread hate speech through it. They invented it so you could say, the fiercest among them in enmity are the Jews. The last person, so we don't take too long. His name is Mark Zuckerberg. And this is the biggest thing, you use it yourself. I mean, you made him invent something that you use to fight the Jews in a really horrible way. He's the one who invented Facebook. Through Facebook, You started holding closed meetings in Facebook groups to plot against the Jews. Through Facebook, you started forming terrorist groups against the Jews. Through Facebook, hate speech against Jews started to spread. Through Facebook, you started fighting anyone who is Israeli or Jewish, and you don't even know the difference between Israeli and Jewish. You don't realize that one is a nationality and the other is a religion. Not every Jew is Israeli, and not every Israeli is a Jew. Israel has Jews, Muslims, and others. And as for Judaism, there are many Jews who aren't Israeli. There are American Jews, European Jews, British Jews, and Jews everywhere. You don't know the difference. You're just saturated with old ideas that you've inherited without understanding, never studied, and have no real knowledge about. So you're hostile toward Jews. You don't even know why. Give me a reason. You're antagonistic toward Jews. Tell me what Jews have done, the like 1, 2, 3, that harms humanity. Tell me what negative impact Jews have had on people. But don't mention Palestine, and don't mention South Lebanon. Because, first of all, that's a recent issue. Secondly, they're the ones at fault, not Israel. And why that is, we'll talk about it later. Okay, and then the news started. People started, Lebanese Arabs started waking up to each other. The Lebanese started waking up and saying, yeah, some Lebanese, when faced with Hezbollah, started to realize that Hezbollah is neither resistance nor anything else. It's basically a terrorist group, internationally speaking. I don't want to get off topic. I want to tell you that the Jews you keep insulting throughout history, have brought you progress over time. They made your era more advanced. They made your wounds heal. They made your thinking and awareness expand. And yet, to this day, you still live with the idea that the most hostile to the believers are the Jews. How about we fix our way of thinking? How about we study and understand? Since the Jews made Google for you, search on Google and ask, what innovations have the Jews made? What inventions have the Jews created? How did the Jews manage to advance the world? How did the Jews manage to find cures for various diseases? How did the Jews make discoveries that allowed us to progress from 0 to 1,000,000? How did the Jews do that? And the Jews aren't, as you say, miserly people. The most professional in business are the Jews. That's why they are the most successful. Not because they are miserly or stingy. Like you say, that's a Jew. No, a Jew is not stingy. A Jew is actually very generous. You just don't know. You've inherited ideas that you have no evidence for. Someone might come to me after watching this video and say, I saw a Jew once and he was stingy. So that one Jew he met represents all Jews? Does that mean all of humanity is summed up in the Jews? He doesn't realize there are stingy Muslims, stingy Christians, stingy Jews, or people with no religion at all, stingy Buddhists. Stinginess exists everywhere. It varies depending on cultures, environments, so many things, upbringing, morals, and a lot of other factors. The word a stingy doesn't mean that just because someone is Jewish, they are stingy. There's absolutely nothing that says that. It does not mean that he is a Jew who remains an oppressor. What's wrong with you, brother? You have no mercy. You are Jewish. No, that doesn't mean anything at all. Jews have mercy. Evidence of that. Look and you will find the subject of Hamas and Hezbollah. Hamas and Hezbollah never said anything about the Jews. If Israel agrees, we will make peace. You won't find us saying, we will develop Israel. But Israel said, we will develop Palestine and Lebanon if they agree to hand over Hamas and Hezbollah and start making peace with us. We are the ones who house them. We are the ones who give them homes. We are the ones who develop them. We are the ones who help them progress. These are the Jews you hate and see as your greatest enemies. Please, try to change your way of thinking. Try to develop your mindset. Jews aren't as bad as you imagine. On the contrary, they are actually the secret behind the world's progress. Without the Jews, the world wouldn't have advanced, it would have stayed backward. See you in the next episode.